So today we're going to talk about positive emotions. Last time we talked about negative emotions and how to minimize them. And today we're going to talk about the positive emotions and how to maximize those ones because we want to keep those ones.
Oh, so.
So I have categorized emotions into four different categories, positive and negative. And we're just going to go through each one today and express how we've amplified that emotion in our life. So if you think of your life as seasons, the first season is spring. That's when life begins, when birth happens, when lambs are born or animals are born. It's a giving life force. So spring energy is very bouncy and fun, very vivacious. And so emotions that come with spring are, of course, excitement and bounciness, as well as a feeling of freedom because animals coming out of the womb, they can move around. So there's that sense of freedom that comes along with the birth, the renewal of life.
Okay, so spring, let's talk about this. This should be fun.
Yeah, so spring is a very like childish energy. It's very fun. Uh it's like lots of fun, lots of goofiness and hearts, butterflies, rainbows. So with that energy comes excitement and freedom. Sometimes when I want to experience this energy and I don't want to have to create an experience to experience it, where like I don't want to have to like go to Disneyland or go to a party or set up an experience, I'll lay on the floor, put my hand on my heart, my other hand on my belly. You can do it however you want, but I create that feeling of spring. And often what comes to my mind, a yellow flower or sunshine or green grass and wildflowers everywhere.
Butterflies,
I really get into that space and I feel that energy growing inside of me. And then I feel overwhelmed me and I breathe through that feeling and live in that feeling.
yeah, that's beautiful. I love it. Spring is definitely my favorite time of year. You will find the happiest version of me in the spring. So if you don't know me and you come across me in person, hopefully it's in the spring. That would be my best foot forward.
I'm a fan of spring too. I love the blossoms, all that stuff.
Yeah, the
Huge
smells, just everything. It's just, yeah. So I think of like birth and life and just spring cleaning and other things like that. Like it's like getting rid of the old and putting in the new. And there's just a lot of motivation around that. For me, like during the spring to it's easier for me to diet. It's easier for me to exercise. It's easier for me to just do me in the spring. Yeah.
That's awesome. So sometimes I'll sit down and I'll meditate over the feeling, but lately I've gotten better about feeling the positive feelings of spring while I'm in the moment. Me and my family were at a football game and there's all this energy and life. Everyone's cheering. It just feels so exciting, very spring energy. You hear the crowds cheering, you're cheering yourself. And I remember a moment where I was feeling that energy and I listened closely to my feelings and I felt the excitement more deeply and I tuned into it and I relished it more. I sunk into it and I was just like, yeah, this is awesome. Like it was such a high. I loved it.
That sounds like such a beautiful experience and also like a really cool thing for us to all stop and do is like stopping to live in the moment. Like every moment, this is the moments we live for. And whether it's our like kids screaming for snacks and trying to kill each other in the car, like there was a moment in my life where I dreamed for that. And so just stopping even in the chaos or ending these beautiful moments of your kids playing soccer, or not soccer, but football and like living in it, like these, like every moment can be cherished. And there's some beauty. There's hopefully every moment like is a moment in our past that we prayed for in a way.
Yeah. And I think too, often we're like mice in a maze and we're searching for the cheese. And the cheese is those good feelings. It's those endorphins, those happy feelings, the dopamine, whatever it is, you're searching for it. But often in society, we get the thing and we don't even enjoy the dopamine that it gets.
Yeah.
We enjoy the search for it. And the second we take the bite, we're on to the next thing. And so what I hope we could concentrate on today, take that bite, enjoy that chocolate, really sink your teeth in and really enjoy it because you're searching for it. And once you give yourself that experience, enjoy it instead of taking that bite and thinking about the next experience that you're going to get a positive emotion from. Why not enjoy the positive emotion while it's happening and amplify the feeling as much as you can inside of you? You're feeling joy from this candy bar? Cool. Sink into that feeling of joy.
Yeah, you're going to eat the candy bar anyway. So
yeah.
You might as well enjoy it instead of having two, because now you feel guilty and you didn't get to enjoy the first one. So now you need another one.
Yeah. I was going to go to the football game anyways. I was going to feel the excitement anyways. Why not just amplify that feeling of excitement? Why not just sink in my teeth into it and really enjoy it? Like, I'm already going to be there. I'm already going to experience it. So why not have more of it at that time?
Yeah. Things can build up and stuff. I try to have some kind of system and stuff for things, but sometimes it just gets away from you. And so I was going through the spring cleaning process in my home again just recently, and that was a huge thing to be able to like get a lot of things out of my house, and that gave me a huge freedom, because it was like, thank you for all of these cool things that I was able to experience because of this and that. Like, it brought up some memories while I was getting rid of stuff, but like it also was like so freeing to give it away to the next person to be able to have their experiences with it. So that was like a huge sense of freedom for me, was doing that spring cleaning process through my home.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the next energy, and that energy is a planning energy. So think after kids are born, when they're in their teenage years, they're often planning what they'll want to do with their life, like where they want to go to school, or if they want to be a rock star, or whatever. They're in that planning mode, and they think about their life and look forward to it. And so with that energy can come a sense of peace. Your inner planning, you're looking towards the future. You're feeling a sense of hope for the future and peace. So we're going to talk about peace now. It's a more calmer energy. It's a more methodical energy. For me, I felt the feeling of peace recently. I often hang out in front of my house. I'll sit out there with my dog, and it's this sense of peace, and I'll think about my day. Sometimes I'll plan my meals, what I'm going to eat that day. I'll look over my calendar. Do I have anything going on this day? Sometimes I'll look over my weekly calendar. Recently, I thought, okay, I can be here and have this sense of peace. But again, the theme of this episode, I really sunk my teeth into that feeling of peace. And so I was just sitting there and I was feeling the sense of peace already and looking, towards the future. This is a good feeling. Like, this is really calming and relaxing. And I feel very zen and chill. So how about you? Have you experienced a sense of peace recently in your life that you've amplified or really lived in?
Yeah. So there's a lot of moving parts in my life right now. I'm definitely doing some spring cleaning in my life in general. And so with that, there's a lot of growth and some turmoil, just saying goodbye to things and processing them. And so after I'm done processing though, and like I always get a sense of peace. And so I really try to sit in that for a long time, because it was a lot of work to get to that point where I'm feeling that peace again and joy. And so whether it's like listening to my music and just like enjoying it and feeling that like connection with myself and that peace is like, or just sitting quietly and really relishing it. That's something that I used to take for granted, I think, a little bit more than I do now. so that I really do cherish the peace that's in my life and in my body. And so whenever I'm experiencing it, I really sink my teeth into it and stop and slow down and feel a huge burst of gratitude for it and for the just the ability to sit in joy and peace, especially with all the growth that I'm experiencing. And so it's really something that I experience almost every day now, and it's something that I really relish in and just really make a big deal about when I'm experiencing it.
Yeah. Some physical things I do to really sink into that feeling of peace. Walking, I don't know, walking kind of gets me in that place. If I ever want to plan something, walking helps me get in that planning mode where I'm thinking about the future. If I ever have like a design to do, I really get creative in that space, planning what I'm going to create and also walking with other people and talking things through. I get into that energy and I can really sink my teeth into that peaceful planning, like really looking forward to the future energy.
Yeah, I when I walk right now, because I have small little kiddos, so when I walk, it's usually on a treadmill. It just works for my life. Um, and so I don't use a lot of cardio in my everyday stuff, but when everything how I work out and how I live my life is very purposeful. And so when I'm walking, it's for a purpose, and usually it's partly spring cleaning, like clearing stuff out of my body. But then, once I'm processed the negative emotions, like the positive ones come in, and I walk in that positivity for a while and really let myself sink into that positivity and feel it in my hips and feel it in my body as I'm walking, because like that's what I was working for, was that positivity. And so I allow it to wash over my body as I'm walking. And then I go throw weights around because that's my jam. So.
I love it. When I teach yoga, I feel a lot of peace and my body kind of relaxes as I'm doing it. I often say, um, as you're breathing, as you're exhaling, let yourself sink into it, really relax into the pose. Uh, to my class, and I love that feeling of like relaxation and peace. So often when I go into yoga, the sun's shining, it's kind of bright outside. So when I come out of yoga, it is a little bit cooler. The sun's often setting, and there's this beautiful feeling of peace because where I'm looking, I can see mountains and hills. The gym's kind of set on a hill. And sometimes I'll even like spread my arms and like look up to the sky and just like soak in that peace as I'm walking to my car. I might look crazy, but I love it. And it's like my way of really sinking my teeth into that feeling of peace.
And who cares if you look a little whatever? Like living in the moment, like more and more people should do that. So
yeah, if you're not spreading your hands while you're walking, you're crazy.
Right? Like this is normal. Okay.
I mean, the older I get, the less I care about things like that. I'm just like, I'm only got a couple years on this earth. Who knows how long I'm gonna be here? And I say a couple because I could live to 100, and that's still a couple. It's not a lot. So I'm just gonna enjoy it now. Life's too short to care.
Well, and what's the point of living to 100 years old if you're not going to enjoy today?
Yeah, that you can have 100 years of misery.
Yeah, so you lived 100-year day. Live the 100 years, truly live it. So good for you for living the day.
Okay. So what if you want to create the feeling of peace? What are some things that come up to you when you're thinking or visualizing, meditating? What are some of the things that come up for you?
So I would say meditation's kind of my jam for feeling peace and stuff. And I kind of do movement meditation as well. I don't formally probably do meditation per se very often where I turn on music and go internally, but I do a lot of meditation throughout my day. So for me, it's more connecting to my heart core is like where I try to connect to. That's like where the peace stems from and then kind of grows out, or how I experience it. And so when I'm not feeling that peace, I say I want to feel peace and I'm not feeling it right now. Like that's my desire. I want to feel it. And then I usually am like, well, what am I feeling? And then it's like, okay, anxiety, whatever, like sadness. And so I have to personally, I have to acknowledge it in order to feel the peace. So I just kind of acknowledge those feelings. I don't necessarily need to name where they're coming from or like why they're there. Sometimes I know exactly why they're there. Oh, too well. And then sometimes I just don't understand where they're coming from, but just acknowledging like, okay, I'm feeling a little sad right now and that's okay, but I want to feel peace. And so like, yeah. And then, so I move through that sadness and then it leads me to my peace. And then my peace, I often, after truly connecting to the peace, I feel a lot of joy. And I can switch in and out of peace and joy really like quickly, like peace and joy, peace and joy. And I kind of like let myself wash over that peace and that joy. And even if it's like doing dishes or like cleaning toilets or whatever, like I try with all like living very purposefully and like even if it's not like a desired activity that I'm doing, I still that's actually when I've connected my peace and my joy the most because I'm like, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And at least I'm going to get something out of it. And so I'm going to just sit here and really feel my joy.
That's so awesome. I love that. But that's interesting that you talked about peace coming from your heart. Whenever I meditate about peace, it comes from my heart as well. I just imagine it growing out of my heart and filling my whole body. It feels like water to me, like an oozy water filling. And if I have to think of a thing, I think laying on a beach, that feeling of laying there and letting the sunshine hit you, that can bring me to a state of peace. I love it.
Feeling like the sand between your toes. That's instantly, once I feel the sand between my toes, I'm like instantly connected to like joy.
Yeah. If I ever had trouble sleeping and I lived by a beach, I could fall asleep so easily.
Maybe we should make that our goal.
We should
do that. Yeah. At least for like, I guess they call it a vacation, at least for a couple months.
Those things where you go somewhere that you don't live and it's really awesome. I love those things. Those vacation things. Yeah. The sound of ocean really gives me that sense of peace too. I just feel so like zen, happy. It's just great. Okay, so we're going to move on unless you have more to say about peace.
No.
So the next one we're moving on to is fall, and fall is about the doing. It's the action. It's the harvest time of the year. It's in your life. The fall season is your 20s, 30s, 40s, where you're building a career and you're very productive. And it's like that doing happening energy. Okay, so I feel spring energy in my feet, a bounciness. I feel the planning summer energy in my heart, that peaceful energy. When I tap into the doing energy, the harvest fall energy, I feel it in my gut. It's just like this, like, feeling.
Yeah, I feel it in my hip too, as well as my like lower abdomen, like gut.
I especially love feeling this energy when I'm working out, and I'm sure you're gonna be like totally into this. But that weightlifting is like that gut energy, and you just like feel power. You're just like, yeah, let's do something. Like,
yeah. So while talking about this, I'm like, oh, I definitely live in like what would be classified in these examples as probably a fall energy more often than not. So
I know for me, sometimes I'm a human doer instead of a human being. I am in the doing energy too much, and I have to be like, whoa, girl, get into a different energy because you're just doing.
Well, and if you're just harvesting, you never get to enjoy the harvest. You never get to sit back and watch it grow in the spring. Like you're just doing, and that's the whole, like, I mean, it's great and it's a big part of what life is about, but yeah, like sitting and enjoying the moment. I'm telling myself that. Like
Well, and I found too, there's a sense of being in the doing. So whenever I'm doing house chores or doing something physical, I'll have those moments where as I'm doing them, I won't even stop the movement. I'll think of like the power or energy I have and just really amplify it. Like I feel this sense of like, "Ugh," or this sense of like do or drive, and I'll amplify that feeling because it's a high. Just like all these emotions are all wonderful and positive, and I don't want to just do and get the hit of that doing energy. I want to really relish it since I'm already doing it. Why not amplify it? Why not really sink my teeth into it? So an example of how I did this recently was as I was doing laundry. Normally I'm like doing so that I could get it done. I'm just like, I'm done. Okay, done. I was like, I'm gonna like really just live in this doing energy. So I just like did it, but also just like felt like, yeah, I'm moving this, doing this.
So like I said before, like I mean, I do stop and slow down and try to enjoy moments as well and be conscientious. But like I've spoken about, I have ADHD, and so I have a very busy body and a very busy mind, and so I probably am in the doing phase more, but I'm doing it purposely, and I'm like living in the moment more and more, and enjoying it. And so like I feel like this is something that I have in my life and established very, very well, where I'm just very much, not trying to rush through and have the kids get their stuff cleaned up or whatever, get out the door. Sometimes that does happen, but for the most part, like I really am trying to just enjoy the process of getting the kids into the car, and who cares if we're 5 minutes late to school? Like it's not the end of the world, like, but enjoying it is the important part of the whole point of getting the kids off to school and stuff, is like letting them enjoy learning, letting them enjoy this. So like if I'm not feeling that emotion, I'm not exhibiting it, and they're not going to feel it because I'm going to create this chaos. So I like this is constantly something that's in my mind, to stop and enjoy the rush, enjoy the busyness of having younger kids and moving them through the stages of life. And so, yeah.
I've noticed for me when I embrace the rush and I sink my teeth into it and like really amplify that hurried feeling, it takes away the anxiety. It's when I'm judging the rush and I'm judging myself like, oh, you should be more zen, or you should do this, or whatever my should is. As they say, like if you're living in should, you're not living in a good place. Never should your life be dictated by the shoulds. It should be dictated by the wants. And so obviously I want to feel that rush energy. I want to feel the push forward. I want to feel the let's go energy. And when I give myself permission to feel it, like, yeah, feel that energy, feel that, like, go, it always ends out better externally too. I feel like I'm rushing other people less, and they're more like, they actually move faster when I'm not rushing them. Surprise, surprise.
Counterintuitive, but good to learn.
Yeah. But I'll let myself feel it. An example of this was this morning. So I wake up in the early morning and I get ready and I get my daughter. She's in my class, my weightlifting class. I get her going and she's kind of, slow going, waking up and stuff. And I just felt this feeling of rush. It's normally the time we need to be going. I need to be there before the class. I'm the teacher. I have to unlock the doors and be there. And I like a little bit of time to write the workout on the board and stuff like that. And my daughter, taking her time, doing what she needs to do. It's not like she's lollygagging, but she's just not as rushed as I am. So I just give myself permission. I'm gonna feel this rush energy. And I literally go out to the car as fast as I want to. I grab my stuff and I tell him like, you take your time. I'm going to the car. Just because I really needed to honor that feeling of like, let's go. I'm ready to go. I'm pumped. This day's mine. Let's go. And so yeah, it just felt really good.
That's good. Oh my gosh, that sounds so fun too, that you were able to like maybe jam out to some music while waiting for your daughter. And like she wasn't pissed at you and you weren't upset at her and like everybody won.
Yeah. And I didn't have to regulate that energy and I could feel it. And I enjoyed it. Like it was a very enjoyable experience. Like I was really into that pump in that like mode. And I was like, why dampen my fun here? Like this is fun to me. This is really energizing to me. I'm not going to dampen it. I'm going to let myself party out in this, like really get myself going and enjoy it.
Yeah. Jumping back, can we jump back to shoulds real quick? I've heard this expression like shoulds are like shit and you should stop shitting all over yourself.
Oh, that's awesome.
Also, like shoulds are someone else's expectations for you. That too. Like, oh, I should make my bed. Well, you don't want to make your bed, so don't make your bed if you don't want to. Like that's, like that's your mom in your head telling you you should make your bed or whatever, whoever it is. It's just a dumb example, but like if you don't want to make your bed, don't make your fucking bed.
I always think of shoulds are other people's wants.
Yeah.
So they want that, not you. And the most honoring thing for you is to look in and decide what your wants are. And sometimes that's harder than it looks, at least for me. I lived in a place where I was looking at everyone's wants a lot. And you see this in the cliche movies, a kid who goes to college and gets the degree that the parents want.
Yeah.
I just think it's good. Find out what you want, even if it's hard to do. Find out what you want and really lean into it because you're going to have so much more energy and vivaciousness if you like live in your wants as opposed to someone else. And all these positive emotions we're talking about today, all of them will come up in your life as you live in your own wants instead of other people's wants.
Right. And there's only so much time, like in a day, like 24 hours when you're living a purposeful life is not very much time. Like it's like my life is full and I'm doing things that I love and stuff. And there's things that need to fall to the wayside because of all of the yeses that I can put into my life. And so, I like, and so if it's someone else's want for me or should for me, like ain't nobody got time for that. Like I have enough of my wants and my things that I love and that I'm fully embracing. So if they want that done, go right ahead, girl. You got 24 hours in your day too. So fill that up with whatever you want to do, picking up behind me, to make my life look the way you want it to look. Great. I don't care. As long as I get to do what I want to do and you're not stepping in front of me, you're not getting in my way, then do you.
Yeah. You have fun in your lane. I'll have fun in mine. I'll do my wants. You do your wants. We'll all have fun. It's all going to be kumbaya. You said earlier that we only have a certain amount of time. I noticed that when I'm in other people's wants, time slows down. Like I'm dragging. And it could be any form of dragging. It could be still moving fast or I'm working hard. I'm still dragging. That hard working time is forever. A whole day seems like a year. And if it's like a boring or lower energy and it's not a high push, it's like a whole afternoon. It's like 20 years. I just want to like poke out my eyes and rip out all my hair. This is awful. Anytime I live in other people's wants, I feel that energy where it's just like, oh my gosh, can it go any slower? I just can't. But whenever I live in my own wants, the day goes by so fast. It's insane. Even if I'm doing peaceful things, it still feels really, really fast.
Yeah, it's like 5 o'clock. It's like, oh my gosh, like what happened to the day? It's 5 o'clock. I need to do dinner. And oh my gosh, like the day's already done and I still sometimes I still have so much energy. Like I need to go for a run or I need to do something because like, how am I going to go to sleep living with all of this vivacious energy? And I did not sit once. I did not like slow down once. And I am full of joy. I'm full of peace and I'm full of life. And I need to go to bed, you
Yeah,
know?
it's when you want to clean your house after you're done, you just sit there and you're just like, oh, this is amazing. I feel this sense of
Hmm.
and it feels so vivacious. But if you clean the house and you're doing it because someone else asked you to, you're done with it and you're just like, okay, good riddance. Like,
Right.
I did
And
that.
bitter and resentful and all that. Like, ain't nobody got time for that. No, thank you. We're like, move on to your hell yeses.
Yeah. Amen, sister. Thank you, Nick. To go on to the thank you yeses. That's awesome. Okay, so any other time where you feel this like powerful, energizing, doing energy and you've really leaned into it instead of pulling yourself back, you let yourself go forward like you instinctively wanted to.
Well, I think sometimes I kind of get a little scared. Like, I don't know if you've experienced this, but sometimes like when it's so powerful, like I'll take a breath back. Like I'm one to dive in and then ask like, wait, how do you swim? So it's not necessarily like,
How do you do this
yeah.
anyways?
So
The
it's
swing
not my
thing.
nature to like step back very often, but like when I do feel that power, sometimes I take a step back, like, whoa, that's really a lot of power. And I freeze for a second, I take a deep breath, and then I jump in to whatever it is. So there is that little pause of like, can I do this? Like, and like
Am I
building
allowed
that
to?
up. Hmm.
Am I allowed to lean into this awesome energy?
Yeah, it is sometimes a little intimidating just feeling all of that power of like, yes, this is where my life should go. This is what I want. A hell yes. And sometimes like it just hits me and it's like, wow, that was hella cool, but also very overwhelming. And so I just need to sit in that for a second before I jump and
I noticed.
then
Oh,
ask
sorry.
people for floaties.
Can you go say anything?
Yeah. By the way, I can't swim, but here I am.
So I notice for me, sometimes I need outward permission to let myself be in that doing energy. So for instance, I really wanted to start this podcast. I've been wanting to
Yes.
do it for literally a decade. And then
Yes.
having my sister be like, let's do it. And I'm like, why didn't I just do it? Why did I wait for someone else to give me permission? That being said, I love having other people be my cheerleaders and be like, dude, you
Yeah.
want to do something? Go for it. Balls to
But
the
then,
walls. Go,
but then
girl.
with that, like I was like, we should do this. You should go for it. And then you got in on the bandwagon, like, yeah, let's do this. And I was like, yeah, you're calling my bluff. Let's do this.
Oh, I love it.
Anyway, so here we are. Um, so yeah,
And we're
we're doing
doing
it.
it. We're doing it. Like it, I just love it. But
Yeah.
I've had other times in my life where I wanted to just go all out, and I just love those cheerleaders in my life that are just like, yeah, like you want to
Why
lay
wouldn't
that big
you?
wall, like I'm there. I'll bring popcorn, like or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yes. Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah, always good to have those doer cheerleaders in your life.
Oh yeah, Brene Brown, how she talks to her children about like candle blower outers. So she's like, no one wants someone at a party to blow out their candles for them, you know? And so like choose friends that are supportive, that like kind of like put their hands around your candle and preserve that light or that fire versus like trying to blow out your candle. And so I just think about that and like I think that both of us have done such an amazing job coming from such a toxic environment to like really finding beautiful people to be our tribe and support us and um, protect our little light and fire and help us help us be the people we are today. So it's really cool that like, and I love that like your tribe different than mine, and some of our people cross over, but I just love that you have such a strong and supportive tribe that like really does nurture you and support you.
So this reminds me of a book called The Winning Effect, and the author says that to help your own biology, your own psychology all work together, all your hormones and emotions work together. It's good to have like winning moments in your life and really relish in them. And you can create these winning moments or over amplify small wins to make them seem like bigger wins. And so you can do it with other people in your life and be their champion for their wins, but you can also do it for yourself. And so this is how I practiced it recently. I did little things like making my bed, and then I would literally cheer out loud, like, yeah, I did it! I'm the coolest person ever! And I know it sounds cheesy, but like, I started like buying my own crap. I was like,
buy your crap. It's like you did it. You made the bed. You might as well care.
Yeah, and I started like finding these little wins and enjoying the moments and really like celebrating them, because I know that I have an easy time celebrating other people's wins, but celebrating my own, sometimes I'm like, do I just think they're just next? Like, let's go on to the next thing.
Yeah.
But like, I'm like, no, this is a moment. This is a moment. This is a win for me. A win for Rachel. Let's go. Like, let's celebrate. And it is really, 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 really powerful.
That's cool. Like, not every day is a graduation day. Not every day is it like you get to walk down that aisle and have your moment of like celebrating. But like, yeah, every day you learned and grew, and like to lead you to those days of like graduation day or whatever. And so like stopping and pausing and being like, oh my gosh, I just did that. Like, that's so beautiful. I love it.
What's a win that you had recently that you're like, yeah, this is a win, and you celebrated?
Oh, well, like I do like give myself high fives a lot. Like I literally give myself high fives, and I like tell myself like not everybody gets a high five from me, and my high fives are like really important high fives. So if you get a high five from me, like that is the highest esteem of compliment that I could ever give you. Just an FYI. I don't give them out to everybody. Anyway, so with my high fives, like I do give myself a high five. I find my ways to like give myself a high five every day, like those wins. But like, like seeing clients and stuff, like every single hour, like when I'm seeing clients, like I'll leave that room and be like, that was a win in this way, and sometimes I'm like, that was a loss this way. Like next time if I have that experience again, this is how I'll do it. But I won in this way, like, because there's always something that you did good. And so stopping and like reflecting, I do a lot of reflection. And in the reflection, I find my win.
That's so cool. I think about the initiation to a activity as a win as well. So sometimes just getting in the car to go to the gym is a win. You know what I mean? Like I did it. I got in the car.
Oh, yeah.
That's a win. Like I did that first step, or I put on my freaking shoes. That's a win.
Well, with small little kids, like, getting in the car, I sit there and like praise myself, like, thank you, Jesus, Lord Almighty. Holy crap. I did.
Yes, you're like, win for the world. We got in the car. It's a miracle. Miracles happen every day. Yes, that is a win. Totally. Or I bought healthy food to put in my fridge, and now it's going to be easier for me to make a healthy meal. That's a win.
Yeah.
I made a grocery list and added something good to it. That's another win. Just I breathed. Win. Like,
you're right.
And I love the winning effect. In the book, he talked about like lowering the bar on your wins. They give an example of Mike Tyson, and he's this, elite boxer. but he was in prison for a while. So when he came out of prison, his trainer actually put him against some weaker boxers in preparation for a big boxing match that he had coming up. And these weaker boxers they called tomato cans, and I don't know why they called them that. The author of the book didn't even know. But basically, these tomato cans are easy fights, easy wins that can build up those endorphins, that winning energy in your brain, that mental place where you're like, I'm going to win and I'm going to do whatever it takes to win. If you go against weaker opponents and win, then you're going to build up this like momentum and do better against stronger opponents, which is exactly what happened with Mike Tyson. He went against a stronger opponent and he won that game because he was prepared by the little wins. And that's why I think it's good in your everyday life. Find the little wins. The little wins are that you took time with your kids, or that you let yourself do something you enjoyed, or whatever it is when you're really in your wants and you're seeing that you're following through with your wants. Give yourself that like win and really sink into the emotion. So today we're talking about the positive emotions and sinking into it, and this is just that one time where you're like, okay, I'm gonna really feel the energy of this win.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It's a fun feeling. I love it.
It's such a good feeling. Like there's really like almost nothing better than that feeling.
Seriously.
And so like, yeah, even with the small little wins, like it feels just as good as those big wins if you just stop and, like stop and win it, feel it.
Yeah, it's the best. It's so good. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10. Seek wins in your life for sure, and relish those wins.
Yeah. So for me, like I really love, I mean, who doesn't, but I really love stargazing and stuff. And I kind of live in an area where I can see a lot of stars. And so at night, when I get home, sometimes it's kind of late, where there's, it's dark and the stars are out, and I'll stop and look at the stars for a moment, and I'll just like feel the win of slaying the day. Like, and it's not always perfect day, but I'll feel that win of like slaying that day. And like, it just feels so amazing to feel that win and like reflecting and like being under the bed of stars, something that's so comforting that I've had like my whole life, like looking at the stars when we were little girls on the trampoline and stuff. Like, anyway, so nostalgic, but also like that's a big like, because it's the end of the day, so I get to reflect on it and just feel that huge win.
Yeah, and this like reflective energy is a good segue for the last energy. It's a reflective energy. It's winter. The years gone by. Lots of people are, in their home, huddled by the fire. It's a very reflective energy. A time when you're telling stories. It's in the
It's kind of
realm of your life.
quieter.
Yeah,
Like I think of like a bed of snow out, so like the noises are muffled.
yeah. And the energy that goes with it is balance and reflection, which you live in a lot because you're a therapist. There's a lot of reflection that goes on with therapy. You're also a massage therapist, which is a lot of reflective energy for your client. They're reflecting inward on their muscles, on their body, on their emotions, but it's reflective for you because you have lots of time to really sink into yourself and reflect.
Yeah, and then like even with the real estate stuff, like people are saying goodbye to their houses and goodbye to those experiences, mourning the loss of change, but like the excitement of new growth. So it's a lot of reflection, and then like people who are moving in are reflecting as well at the things that they just said goodbye to, and moving into a new space and like reflecting, will this actually work for me? So like ironically, like a lot of the jobs that all the jobs that I have are like definitely people jobs, because I love people. Um and then I didn't notice that till we're speaking about it now, but it is a lot of reflection aspect. Like it brings the reflection out of people. with all the jobs that I do.
Yeah, and last episode when we talked about minimizing feelings, that's a very reflective process as well. You're going inside yourself, you're thinking about those feelings you want to let go of and release. So lots of reflection involved with that. There's a lot of positive emotions in reflection. There's like a sense of balance that comes with reflection. As you said, like that snow in winter or a frozen lake is something that I think about when I'm reflecting. Also, when I'm in reflection energy, I often in my head a bit about it, but
Yeah.
it's more an emotion than it is a thought process. Just like
That's what I feel too. It's like the emotion sitting in my like throat, chest area.
yeah, it's up. It's like somewhere
Mm-hmm.
here. It feels intellectual without being too thoughtful. It's
Yeah.
so like even when it's here, like you were saying, your throat. For me, when I feel it there, I'm still reflecting, but it's like in a thoughtful way. It's kind of like reflecting what I'm going to say or what I said.
I guess like looking at like the way that I feel things and stuff, I really do love the reflective energy. I probably um use reflective energy a lot along with like it brings me to my peace. I reflect, I feel peace, and I feel a lot of joy. Those are like the three flavors of emotions that I feel on the positive side. On the negative side, there's anxiety and a little depression, but anxiety is my uh drug of choice on the negative ones. But for the positive, like the reflective is such a fun energy for me to at least live in because like it's always like a thought process of like, what did I love about that? What would I change if I get to experience that again? And also like, how can I live in the moment now? Like, and so it just brings me back into what do I want my life to look like? And every moment I can shape that. Maybe I woke up on the wrong side of the bed and things just didn't work out for the first couple hours of my day. Doesn't mean that it has to go down that track the whole day. And sitting in that reflective energy helps me turn that ship around if it started off wrong. But yeah, it's just a really beautiful. I think of reflective energy as like curiosity almost in a way, like like just sitting there in your curiosity and reflecting and like um peaceful curious, like not criticism but just being playful and like curious.
I agree. I feel that too. Another area I feel reflective energy is when I pamper myself. I love massages, like receiving them because I get in
Oh
a very
yeah.
reflective place. Like time goes by so fast, but it's also just so amazing.
Well, and it's
One thing
very nurturing too. I think so. It's like safe to reflect when you're being nurtured.
yeah, I agree. Whenever you're nurtured, you're kind of like, oh, I can be in my own little bubble world of reflection. I
Well, it's safe
also
to make
love,
mistakes because of the nurturing. Like I can reflect and see where I went wrong because I have someone having my back, and I have that support. I don't know.
yeah, I see that. I also, whenever I want to reflect on my own, taking baths really gets me in that reflective place and kind
Yeah.
of, to me, reflection feels very internal and cocooned. Like I can still have people involved with the reflection, like we could talk about things, but it's still this energy that like pulls inward almost, where I'm like looking and reflecting. Often people will look down to reflect. It pulls up the memories better. It's like an inward energy. Um, so a recent experience of me really relishing this feeling of reflection. I was taking a bath the other day and I just remember like I was like shaving my legs, doing my stuff, like moving through my routine of cleaning myself, and I was like, I'm here. I'm enjoying this. Like, why not just enjoy this more? And I was like, okay, this is really relaxing. This is really great. I like this. And then I was like done with my bath and I still wanted to stay in that reflective energy. So like I put on a movie in the background and I started just like massaging knots out of me. And I get knots all the time because I'm crazy, love it, like into weightlifting and whatever. So I'm just like massaging my knots and they're coming out so well because like I'm all warm from my bath. And I was just like, this is like really good. And I was really enjoying it, but I started enjoying it more when I like took that second and I paused and I was like, oh, this is like really, really, really just juicy reflection energy. Like I feel so pampered. I feel so just like balanced and at peace. And it just, it was amazing.
That's really awesome. That's really beautiful. And like, yeah, there's so many things like almost the mom guilt sometimes maybe seeps in or has for me in the past where it's like I'm doing something for myself. Like, and I should be, and anyway, and
I
so
should be helping everyone and their dog.
yeah, but
How
like
dare
how
I
do
take care
you
of myself?
right, but how do you take care of your other people when your ship is sinking? So you might as well, you're already in the bath anyway. Yeah, relishing in it. And also like those moments of like, no, like you need to take care of yourself. And this is important.
Well, and like we've been saying this whole episode, life's so short. Life goes by, and you should relish every one of them. You should relish the exciting moments. You should relish the peaceful moments. You should relish the go getter moments. You should relish that reflective energy. Why not? You're going to feel those feelings anyways. So why not relish them? And why not really embrace them and feel them more intensely and more deeply and like really get into them?
Yeah.
Searching for the next hit, you already have a hit. So go for it. Like really enjoy it. You already have that positive emotion, whatever it may be. Just enjoy it. Really enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure. Like sit in it, enjoy it, feel it, like whatever. I don't know, I find that even the discomfort now, because I've sat in the discomfort for so long and I've trained my brain that I'm not going to die sitting in the discomfort. So even sitting in the discomfort in some ways, maybe is like maybe I'm a little bit of a masochist, but like now I'm to the point where I really enjoy it, like as well. Like, I really love my like shadow or my inner child. And when she's having a hard time or whatever, I love sitting with her and I love feeling that like dark in that there's some pain, but there's also a lot of beauty in it. And then it flips me to my fun side or my like high energy side. And I love her too. Like, and she has a lot of fun things to do and a lot of cool like places that she's going. And so I just found that like sitting on both, like the yin and the yang and like just fully embracing myself and where I'm at and loving myself and loving the sadness, loving the depression, loving the anxiety. Um, there's beauty in those feelings and like there's a lot to them and a lot that can be learned and so not being afraid of them, not being like picking them up and feeling them and sitting with them and reflecting with them. I don't know, I just have come to enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm really glad you said that because I've felt that same enjoyment, but I thought I was crazy. So, like, thank you for confirming, or maybe we're just both crazy together.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? It's in our DNA. So, everybody else out there listening, yeah, take it with a grain of salt.
Like, as I've really embraced negative emotions, I started enjoying working through them and like feeling them. And Buddhism, they say that if you lean towards pain, it's not as painful.
Yes.
And I 1000% agree. But also, if you lean towards pain, you find enjoyment, and it's really weird. I remember years ago when I wasn't as into exercising, hearing people say like, "Oh, I just love exercising. It just gives me so much endorphins. I just feel like I'm high on top of the world." And I'm just like, you guys are lying, first of all, not true. And second of all, I feel like I'm dying. I would literally like sing that song like "Killing Me Softly" with His Love because I thought I was like killing myself. I was just like, I hated it.
I love it.
Hated it. And again, I was doing it because I thought I should. I wasn't doing exercise because I wanted to, and I wasn't finding the exercise that I liked doing. So of course I don't want to do it because it's not like honoring to my wants. Anyways, I think negative emotions are like that. Like,
Yeah.
you might think we're crazy, just like I thought those gym rats were crazy at one time.
For sure.
But once you find, I don't know, once you sink into it more, once you
Or
get
the
like
rhythm
more
of what to
familiar.
expect.
Say that again.
Or the rhythm of what to expect with it. Like, it's not
Yeah.
so
It's
crazy.
not scary.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of enjoyable.
For sure. And it's not going to last forever. I don't know. It's just a moment. The good moments aren't going to last forever. So fully embrace it. The bad moments aren't going to last forever. And those are your teaching moments. Like I said before, those are your guiding stars. So if you lean in on them and like embrace it, it's not going to last forever, but hell, you can learn a lot from those moments.
Yeah, I think too, as a society, we have dampered that feeling of enjoyment of whatever it may be. It could be a very high emotion where you feel excited, or a kind of reflective one. But whenever you're in an enjoyment state of anything, I think we kind of damper it because we're just like, oh, I want to be cool. I don't want to like really show that I love this experience or I'm really into it.
Yeah.
And I say, screw that.
Yeah,
I say, let that go, minimize that, and really just sink into enjoying the good ones and
enjoying
embracing the bad ones. Yeah, enjoying them.
Because there's a lot of enjoyment that can be found in both sides of it. And enjoying the process of life is living.
I agree.
So, yeah.
If my kids are ever watching this, I always tell them, I don't care about your grades. Just, are you enjoying learning? Are you enjoying the process?
Right.
And yeah.
The grade's going to come.
They're probably tired of me saying it, but I like fully lean in. Just enjoy your life. And enjoyment doesn't always have to look the same. It can look like soft, it can look hard, it can look intense, it can look calm. Whatever it is, just enjoy it. Sink in.
Yeah, it's not a roller coaster ride every single day. Not every day do you get to go to Six Flags. Not every day do you get that graduation. Not every day do you get that like huge win, you know, but like those little wins every single day and those little feelings every single day, like, holy hell, that's addictive to me anyway. Like that's life.
Amen. Enjoy those small wins. Enjoy the big wins, because like you worked your butt off for those big wins, and when they come, don't just set the goalpost farther. Like I've done that my whole life, where I'm like, okay, my big win, yay, done. Like, no, really, like enjoy that win. Really lean into it. And the times that I've leaned into small wins and big wins, like it's powerful.
Yeah. And enjoying the win in the losing too, because like you know, like Edison, like how many different strings did they use to create the light bulb? Like those losses, if he would have just quit and been like, well, I'm a loser and I can't find the right string or whatever that will like glow, like, I don't know, it was the process. Hopefully, like it's the process of finding the right thing that fits. Like that's a win in and of itself. A loss you can reframe it into a win because, you know, like, hey, that didn't work. And that is an answer in and of itself.
Yeah, I also like to think of like when you can't convince your head that a loss can be a win, if you can't silver line it, it's just like a straight out loss.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you turn that loss into a win, it feels cool. For instance, like, have you ever had someone say like, "Oh, you're a dumb person," or whatever? I don't know. You're stupid, or I
Oh,
can't like
I've
think of.
gotten that a lot because I'm a female in a misogynistic world, or was, in
Yes.
a misogynistic world. So there was a lot of that growing up.
Like, you're too much, you're too little, like
Mhm.
whatever. Especially with some younger kids, I always lean into what they're saying, and I'm like, yeah, I am. I'm such a loser. I'm so cool. Like, that's the best thing. Like, I'm a bigger loser than you are. For sure. And like, especially when they're younger, it confuses them. It even confuses adults. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, that would be like, I would look at you kind of weird, but like, hey.
But like, owning that and winning in it, I don't know. Like, it kind of does a trick on your brain and like really
Sure.
amplifies like your emotions in a good way, where you're like, yeah, I lost. Woo! And everyone's like, what is wrong with that girl? But you don't care because you're like on this high and life is good, and yeah.
So there's a lot of seasons and growth in our lives through the summer, spring, fall, winter. I hope that all of us take moments to embrace where we're at and find those wins, and find the moment to pause and reflect, or whatever the emotion is for that, and dance in the rain, and look at the stars, and just take those moments and grab life and experience it, the highs and the lows, and enjoy even the lows, and enjoy the highs, and just feel your emotions, and like live life through that.
Yeah, I think it's great to simulate those feelings, those positive feelings, in any respect that you simulate them. Meditation's a good simulation for positive emotions. Also, if you want to like level up and really embrace those positive emotions, really working on embracing them in the moment has been amazing for me. So I highly recommend it, and I encourage you guys to like get out there and really enjoy your lives. Like, kill this life in a good way.
As Talladega Nights would say, like, make it your bitch.
Tell this life who's boss.
All right. Oh man, thanks for joining us.